Thank you for listening to The Real Deal with Damian Adams. This is Real Sports Talk for the real sports fan. And I definitely appreciate all you real sports fans who are listening right now. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please do me a huge favor and leave this podcast a 5-star rating. That 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth. That 5-star rating review will definitely be appreciated. If you're listening on any other platform, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podomatic, wherever, please share it from that platform so that your friends and family can find the show, listen to the show, and love the show just like you do. And I'm very excited about today's episode. It's a special, special episode. We are doing a all-time NBA team draft. So I am joined by 4 great sports minds, and we're having a competition to see who can build the best league using teams from the past. So you literally can pick any team. You can pick the 2022 Golden State Warriors. You can go back and pick the George Mikan Lakers if you want to, but you just have to be specific with the year. And the biggest rule is you cannot duplicate top 75 players. Now, of course, because the league has such a great history, we're all going to end up with different versions of the same players, right? Like, for example, if I want rookie LeBron James and I pick the 03-04 Cleveland Cavaliers, other players can pick LeBron James teams as well, just not that same one. Now, I can no longer pick any other teams with LeBron James on it. So if I pick the 03-04 Cavaliers, that means that I can no longer pick any other teams. I can't say, oh, let me pick the 2020 Los Angeles Lakers now. I cannot do that because I cannot duplicate top 75 players. Now, you can't duplicate role players because some role players have been on a lot of great teams. For example, Robert Horry. Robert Horry's been on 7 championship teams. So it's kind of hard to not duplicate that guy when you're making a list like this, picking these great teams. So you just have to avoid top 75 players. Now, if you do pick a top 75 player twice, the rule is if it is caught, one of the other panelists or commissioners gets to pick a team for you. You definitely do not want that because we're competing. So if it's me, I'm going to be petty. If I catch it, I'm going to pick a really bad team for you, right? I'm going to give you the 2021 OKC Thunder or like the 98 Vancouver Grizzlies. I'm going to give you a really bad team to mess up your league. So now let's meet some of these esteemed commissioners that I have for you. So let's start with my man, Mike Patton. He is the host of Touring the AFC South. He is a freelance writer and journalist. He also not only just writes about sports, very good creative writer when it comes to short stories. He has all the jobs. He has more jobs than a dad with 10 kids. My man, Mike Patton. What's going on, Mike?
What's going on, man? Another day in hot, humid Nashville. I can tell you
that. Being from New Orleans, I definitely know about the humidity. I do not miss it, but definitely the dry heat is no better. Telling you here in Arizona, you go outside, you just baking like in the oven. It's bad out here too. So I definitely understand that. So now let's get to the quarterback of the 3rd and 3 podcast. He is 1/3 of a podcast that is hosted by Nikki Jess and also this handsome guy right here, Damian Adams. Jason Feirman is one of the biggest 49ers fans in the world. The only thing that he may have more knowledge of when it comes to football is his historic knowledge of basketball. He's never met a pun or a dad joke he didn't like. My man, Jason Feirman, what's going on?
What up, younger brother? How you doing, man? It's just going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, I'm definitely looking forward to it. So my next commissioner, this guy is the second time on the podcast, somebody who definitely has a great knowledge of sports and music. That's why his podcast is called The Fellas Present Sports Rap Podcast. He is a proud girl dad. He is somebody who just represents smoothness and cleanness. He's the cleanest thing out of Detroit since Jalen Rose's hairline. My man, Big C. What's going on, Big C?
What's going on, man? What's going on, man? Thank you for the intro, man. That's the best intro ever, man. Thank you so much, man. Looking forward to this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Now, the last commissioner is my man. He is the host of the Drop Balls podcast. You can catch him at a Twitter space near you, definitely in there all the time, dropping knowledge. You may also catch him shooting a quadruple bogey at your local golf course. He is your favorite podcaster's favorite sports podcaster, my man, Christopher Lewis II. What's going on, Chris?
Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for the introduction. Glad to be on, the Real Deal with Damian Adams again. You know, it's always a good time. So, and especially with the panel that we have, it's always a good time with y'all, man.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Appreciate that. So like I was explaining earlier, we are picking teams from the NBA's past. So the NBA's had 75 years. We can pick any team from those 75 years. Each of us are going to pick 10 teams for our league. And throughout, we're going to explain why we want this team for our league, why this team makes our league better. And at the end, we're going to try to get the listeners' votes or even the watchers. This one will be on YouTube as well, to try to get them to vote for our league. And of course, we should have a name for our league. So let's start with Mike. Do you have a name for your league today?
That'd be the General's Army. That's
Oh.
the name of my league.
Okay, that's a dope name right there. I like that. That should also be a fantasy football team name. I like that right there, the General's Army.
I thought about it, but I might come up with something else. You know me.
Okay. So we definitely will be doing a fantasy football draft, the second annual Real Deal fantasy football draft, which Mike will be a part of. Jason, what's the name of your league?
Well, I really didn't give it much thought, and I just popped into my head. I'm like, you know what? I'm living in Florida now. I'm going to go with my last name. This is my team, the Florida Feirmans. Here we go.
Okay. I like that for sure. I like that league name right there. Big C, what's the name of your league?
Like Jason, man, I didn't give it, what I'm saying, much thought, man. So I'm just gonna, just go off the cuff here, man. And we just gonna call it C Squad. We're gonna keep it real simple. C Squad.
Okay. I like that right there. What about you, C Lou?
Yeah, so we're gonna keep it simple as well. We're gonna go to DBBA, Drop Balls Basketball Association.
Okay. I like that right there. I like that. All right. Mine is called the HOA, the Hoopers Only Association. So everybody here has got to be a hooper. You got to be able to go. All right. So I have this container right here. If you can see it, there you go. It has all our names in it. This is going to determine the order in which we draft. And now this is a snake style draft. So if you get the last pick, don't be scared. That means you get 2 picks in a row. So it could help you with your strategy. So let's see who gets the first pick here in the first annual NBA.
I'll make sure that was entrusted to Ernst & Young as well, man. I don't know. I don't want no shaky shenanigans.
Go ahead, pick my name, man. I know him first.
So let's see. First name. Wow, Jason called it. First overall pick goes to Jason.
I knew
All right. Second pick. Second pick goes to Chris. All right. Third overall pick goes to myself. All right. Fourth pick goes to Mike. So that means fifth pick goes to Big C. All right. All right, so before we get started, we now know that Jason is on the clock. One last time, the rules are we're all picking 10 teams throughout the history of the league. The only catch is you cannot pick a duplicate top 75 player. So for example, if you pick the 94-95 Orlando Magic that has Shaq on it, you can no longer pick any other teams with Shaq on it. So you can't say, oh, I want the Lakers, the 2000 Lakers now with Shaq, because you already have a Shaq team, all right? And so we're picking our 10 teams. Let's get it. Jason, you are now officially on the clock with your first pick.
All right. Well, giving it some thought here, and I have to go with one of the most unique teams ever put together. And given the fact that they only had 2 seasons of this team, I think I have to go with the 2016-2017 Golden State Warriors with KD, Steph, all them boys.
Oh, okay. 2016-2017 Golden State Warriors. So why is it that you want that team for your league?
Oh, man. Look, we're talking about 2 of the best scorers that the game has ever seen, maybe 3 if you include Klay Thompson. Then you got Draymond Green out there. I mean, that team was one of the best playoff runs that we have ever seen as NBA fans. No matter what era you're talking about, they were dominant all the way through, breezed right through the finals like it was no problem. Durant, MVP. And if Curry's your second best player, I think that's amazing. So you may have 2 of the top 12 best players of all time on the same team right there, and 2 of the greatest shooters in NBA history as well, when you include Klay.
For sure. They definitely have an argument for the best team of all time. They ran through the playoffs, right? And sometimes I hesitate to say run. They took a leisurely stroll through the playoffs until they got to the NBA Finals. And only lost one game in the NBA Finals, and the Cavaliers literally had to break a record for three-pointers made in the finals game for them to lose. This is one of the most dominant teams of all time. I hated that this team even existed, but they did. So the 2016-17 Golden State Warriors are the first overall pick by Jason. So Chris, you're now on the clock.
Yeah, so you know, I'm gonna have to backdoor that and go with the 17-18 Golden State Warriors, the team that swept the Cavaliers in the finals.
Okay,
Wow.
fair enough.
And we have our first use of the Wheel of Fortune strategy, or the Price is Right strategy. The Price is Right strategy, where you go 1 cent above. that's what Chris just did right there. 17-18 Golden State Warriors. Now, this team wasn't tested a little bit more than the 16-17 Warriors. The Rockets were able to push them in the Western Conference Finals. But like you said, once the finals came, they're able to sweep the Cavaliers there. LeBron James that year. The fact that he got into the finals in 18 was just nuts.
It was crazy.
Yeah, that playoffs run was absolutely ridiculous there from my man LeBron James. But a good pick right there. And Chris, why is it that you wanted this team so bad to pick them first overall?
So this team right here, I mean, not only did they didn't sweep everybody, like they did the first run. They didn't sweep everybody like that, but they swept the finals. Not only that, but this was the year that Steph and KD both averaged like 26 points per game. And then you had Clay with 20 points per game. So I think this was like, it's the second year together. So this is where I kind of feel they got their chemistry right. And so I think they were the best versions of themselves, even though, like I said, during the playoffs, teams pushed them to the brink, especially that Houston Rockets team. But I feel like this was where they really found their groove and they was moving.
Okay. No, I'm definitely not mad at that at all. So that now means that I am on the clock, and I'm going to get off of the Golden State bandwagon and go to the Miami Heat. I was surprised Chris didn't make this one of his first picks, but I'm going to go with the 2011-2012 Miami Heat. This is the big three of LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. This team had a 27-game win streak during the regular season of that year. They won the championship, defeating the OKC Thunder in that year after, of course, losing in 2011 to the Dallas Mavericks and Dirk Nowitzki and that squad. So I'm going to go with the 2012-2013, or 2011-2012, excuse me, Miami Heat there for my first pick. I like getting a prime LeBron James. Dwayne Wade was still pretty good. Prime Chris Bosh. That squad, I think that's a great squad to build your league around. So I'm going to go there first. So now
what's crazy is they were second on my list.
There you go.
So now we have Mike Patton on the clock.
All right, I don't even need to take much time for this. Let's see. Let me go with the 1995-1996 Chicago Bulls, 72-10, 15-3 in the playoffs and the championship, and the greatest of all time, Michael Jordan.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not a hard pick to make right there. They were on my list, but it was something about, you'll see later with my strategy why I didn't pick that squad first, but definitely a great pick. You can put them in the argument for greatest team of all time, along with the 2017 Golden State Warriors, and of course some other teams that'll definitely come up as we go through our picks here. So I definitely love that pick right there. You get Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman, all top 75 guys on that squad. And, you have some great role players there as well. Steve Kerr, along with that squad, Ron Harper. Like, that squad was just built, man. And you got Phil Jackson as a coach. So you have a lot of personality with that squad going into your league right there. So I like that pick a lot, Mike. So Big C on the clock. You got back-to-back picks.
Back-to-back. Okay. I'm going to keep it, home-centric. I'm going to start us off with the 89-90 Detroit Pistons, led by Zeke, Joe Dumars, Bill Laimbeer, the Bad Boys. Just a great team. The first of two championship teams, man. And if you follow basketball, the 90s and it was kind of dominated by two or three teams. So who in terms of championships. So I wanted to get them out the way.
Okay. Now, definitely not mad at that pick. Like you mentioned, back-to-back championship teams right there. Team with two top 75 players. When you talk about Isaiah Thomas and Dennis Rodman on that squad, one of the greatest defensive teams of all time, and just known for toughness. So your league is already starting with this toughness to it. That's like, okay, maybe you'll get the working man to watch your league. Starting with the toughness right there. So what's your second pick?
So I'm gonna piggyback off of Mike, man. I figured the Bulls, they were again a team that basically dominated the 90s. So it's gonna be kind of, I want to get them out the way, man. But I have to go with the 93 Bulls.
Okay.
Strategically, the 93 Bulls championship team, the team before, the championship before Michael retired. And I chose that team because that is also the team that does not include Dennis Rodman. So I didn't want to be a rule breaker right off the bat. So we get the Bulls out the way and we choose the team with no Dennis Rodman.
Okay. No, I'm definitely not mad at that pick right there. You're getting Jordan as he did retire for a year and a half after that, but you're getting him at his peak athletically, along with having the skills, right? The skills you saw in that second three-peat, he was starting to gain those at the end of that first three-peat, the fadeaway, the footwork, and he still can yam on you when need be. So I like that version. You got Pippen right before he went to his own of averaging the next year, getting you 22 points a game, being a top 5 MVP candidate. So I really like that team right there. And Horace Grant, underrated third member of that squad right there. So I really like that pick of the 92-93 Chicago Bulls. So now we are back on Mike. His first pick was 95-96 Bulls.
All right. Kind of looking through a little bit here. And let me go with the 2000-2001 Lakers. 52-26. Kobe and Shaq, 15-1 in the playoffs on the way to a championship.
That you starting off with a big bang here with your first two of the greatest squads of all time. Both of those are in arguments. We talk about the greatest teams of all time: 95-96 Bulls, 2000-2001 Lakers. Like you mentioned, only one loss on their route to a championship. We all know AI had to go absolutely crazy in that one game one of the NBA Finals. We all remember the step over of Tyronn Lue in that game. But after that, the Lakers dominated. Shaq was absolutely just at his apex at that time. Just nothing you could do. Philly had the Defensive Player of the Year and Dikembe Mutombo. He had no shot at all of guarding Shaq.
He got folded up like a cheap tin up under the basket.
He did. And Shaq did that to everybody at that time. Like, it was absolutely ridiculous. And Kobe, you could argue, was a top 3 or 4 player as well at that time. So to have those two along with, you got Phil Jackson coaching twice in your league already. So we see a theme here for Mike's league already. So now it's on me. I am on the clock, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go a bit modern with my next pick. I'm gonna take the 2020-21 Milwaukee Bucks.
Interesting. All right.
I wanna have that prime Giannis in my league. This team is a very interesting one. I just want to see, like, what some of the other teams are going to pick. How do they react with a Giannis? How would a team from the 60s or 70s react when they see a 6'11" dude grab the ball off the board, take it coast to coast, and only take like 3 dribbles? How are they going to react when they see something like that? Like, who's this alien on the court doing this stuff?
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait to see that. And I love the matchup already of the 2012 Miami Heat versus this Bucks team. Kind of prime LeBron, would he be able to shut down Giannis? Would Drew Holiday be matchable on Dwayne Wade? I like that matchup already, how the different matchups would go along there. So for my second pick, the 2021 Milwaukee Bucks. So now we're back on Chris.
Yeah, so we're going to go back to 95-96, and we're going to get the team that the Bulls played in the finals, and that's the Seattle Supersonics. I'm going with them. They were a very good defensive team. They were like 3rd in defensive rating or something like, or actually 2nd in defensive rating. And then, I mean, you still have your prime Gary Payton, you have Detlef Schrempf, and, Sean Kemp. Like, what more do you need? And I mean, they won a lot of games. What was their record? 64-18. So, I mean, rightfully so, they made the finals. They lost to the Bulls, won 2 games, but it is what it is. But I'm taking them.
Okay. No, I like that pick right there. Got the defensive player of the year that year and Gary Payton on the squad. One of the best teams to not win it all, I would say, with the Seattle Supersonics that year. And you mentioned you got excitement. You're going to have alleys. This was the original Lob City before people know the term. It was the original Lob City right there with Gary Payton and Sean Kemp. And you mentioned the players around them. So I like that pick a lot right there. So now we are back on Jason with back-to-back picks.
Yeah, this is pretty much where I start running away with things here, guys. Give me the 86-87 Lakers, all right? Magic, Kareem, Magic was
On my list.
MVP of the league that year. They were 65-17. All right, the Lakers that season. They beat Larry Bird and the Celtics in the final. I don't know what else you guys. It was one of the best teams ever. They were 15-3 in the postseason. 15-3. I don't know how you do that. So unbelievable. That team crushed it. And I get back to back. I mean, wow. You sure?
Yeah,
All right.
you get back to back. That 86-87 team has 3 members of the top 75 team on it, with Kareem, Magic, and James Worthy. Definitely one of the greatest teams of all time. Not to mention Byron Scott was a very good role player. So that team right there is definitely in the running for one of the best teams of all time. Prime Magic. Kareem a little bit on the back end, but prime Magic, prime James Worthy. You got to love that squad. Great pick right there, Jay. So what's your second pick or your third pick overall?
My third pick overall, I got to go with the team the year before that, the 85-86 Celtics, man. I mean, again, Bird I think he was the MVP that year. They had the 6th man in the league that year. You know, Bill Walton, we talked, Kevin McHale, Parrish. I mean, an unbelievable freaking team. That team was, they beat the Lakers in the finals. No, actually, I think it was the year they beat the Rockets. Excuse me.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, they were also 15-3 in the postseason, or 16-3, whatever it was. And then they had 67 wins also in the regular season. So 85-86 Celtics. Yeah, man, I'm pretty happy right now with my picks. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, and it's very interesting to see what those teams will do with Kevin Durant pulling up from 30. Like, how are they going to adjust when that guy comes down the court? Do you put Magic on him? Do you say, oh, we're just gonna put with Boston? Do you put Larry Bird on him? Can Larry Bird handle somebody like that? It'll be very interesting to see what would happen there. So I really like the way your team, your league is setting up so far. I like that. So now we are back on Chris.
Yeah, so Jason, you just got the 85-86 Lakers, right? Is that what you
I
said?
got
Or Celtics?
86-87 Lakers, 85-86 Celtics.
Got you. All right. So I'm going to go to 90-91 Portland Trail Blazers. They were 63-19, third in defensive rating. That's where you have Danny Ainge. You still have Clyde Drexler. You know, you have those boys out there. So I'm gonna go with them.
Okay, very interesting right there. I like that pick. Those late 80s, early 90s Portland Trail Blazers teams are definitely very underrated. You talk about a couple of finals appearances between those teams, and like Clyde Drexler, somebody who's very underrated all time when you think about his greatness. If it wasn't for Michael Jordan, Clyde Drexler would be very, very highly regarded, more highly regarded than he is if it wasn't for Jordan. So I like that pick right there. Underrated team sneaking in right there. There's always Chris with the underrated ones. I'm surprised he hasn't picked any goon squads yet. Last time we had something like this, my man, we did a player draft, Big C, and my man had Gilbert Arenas, Dennis Rodman, all on the same team. I was like, all the guns, all the fighting gonna happen in the same locker room.
Need some. Hey man, they all can't be schoolboys, man.
Yeah, that's true.
You gotta shake it up sometimes.
You gotta have some goons on the squad, man. You gotta have those dudes that'll get dirty.
You got to, for sure. No, I'm not mad at it at all. So 90-91 Portland Trail Blazers. I like that right there. So I'm going to stay very connected to Chris's pick. I'm going to pick the 91-92 Chicago Bulls. This is the famous year where Jordan had this picture right here, just making all the threes. He just didn't know what to do. He was like, I'm just killing it right now. And that was the year they did beat the Portland Trail Blazers in the finals, 91-92. And again, you're getting a version of Jordan where he was coming into his own with the footwork, the fadeaways, but still had the crazy athleticism, the 48-inch vertical and all that stuff, along with Scottie Pippen, who was young at this time. This is before he became, jaded at the contract. This was him motivated, ready to go. You had Horace Grant on that squad, BJ Armstrong, Paxson. You had a really good squad there for their back-to-back championship at the time. So give me the 91-92 Bulls for my third team. And man, this is a lot of great teams in history, man. This is going to be a tough one to judge for sure. So now we're back on Mike, who already has 95-96 Bulls, the 2000-2001 Lakers. Where are you going next, Mike?
I'll go with the 2012-2013 Miami Heat.
You cut out a little bit there, Mike.
Huh? I
say you cut out a little bit there, Mike. What's your team?
The 2012-2013 Miami Heat.
Oh, okay.
They were 66-16, 16-7 in the playoffs, had LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Bosh, and Ray Allen with the corner three to tell them to take those ropes off the court and let's play another game.
Definitely a classic moment right there. Chris Bosh getting that rebound, passing it out to Ray Allen in the corner. That team has 3 members of the top 75 team on it, with LeBron, D Wade, and Ray Allen on that team. Some people may make an argument Chris Bosh deserved to be on the team. It was tough because his career got cut short, but he definitely was a great talent there who helped him out with those back-to-back championships. So I definitely like that pick right there. You already have.
Hang on, D. I'm sorry. This was 2012, 2013 Heat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure I got the year right. All right.
Yeah, because I had my first pick was 2011, 2012. So I got the first championship team. He's got the second championship team for the Miami Heat. And his team was a little more battle tested. My team won in 5 against a young OKC team. His team won in 7 over a battle tested Spurs team there. So 2012, 2013 Miami Heat for Mike's third pick. Now we're back to Big C, back-to-back picks.
Okay, man. I'm stinging, man, from that pick, Chris, that 1996 Seattle Supersonics. They were on my list of one of the best to never do it, man. I thought I had one in the tuck right there, man.
Hey, man, you gotta catch up to the best in the Northwest. I mean, he's
man. So, for this pick, I'm gonna go to 2014. I'm gonna go with the San Antonio Spurs, part of their dynasty run, and this is the year. Actually, the torch was kind of passed on to Kawhi. He won Finals MVP this year. This team has Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, of course, Manu Ginobili. So a deep team, a talented team, and again with an emerging Kawhi on it. So that's my pick, my first pick.
Nah, I really like that pick right there. And I think they're underrated when it comes to the argument for best team ever. Because when you watch what they did to Miami in the finals that year, it was straight up just demolishment. Sorry to bring up bad memories, Chris, but they just straight up demolished the Miami Heat that year. The ball movement, the players, they had a very smart team. No one on that team was averaging like 23 points a game or anything like that. It was just overall teamwork on that squad. And like you said, Kawhi Leonard was coming into his own, still a lockdown defender, and would become a better offensive player throughout the years. So I like that pick right there. So now we are back to your.
That was the 2013, 2014 team.
Yeah.
Okay. Just all right.
Let me see. I want to do. Do I want to pick a champion, or do I want to go with some has-been? So let me get LeBron out the way. So let me go with the 2016 Cleveland Cavaliers, the one that him and Kyrie, they beat Golden State that second time around. They were the underdog kind of that year. One of the first years probably I can really pinpoint myself cheering for LeBron at that point. I was kind of the, of the thinking that he wasn't that guy still. He got anointed very early as the man, and I was, kind of slow to pass the torch to him, but I was impressed by that championship run and that team. So 2016 Cleveland Cavaliers.
Okay. I love that pick as well. Great team. And this team definitely overcame adversity, down 3-1 against the Golden State Warriors. This team changed history. If this team does not win, I don't believe Kevin Durant joins them the next year. I don't think Kevin Durant joins a back-to-back champion. So that team definitely changed history with that comeback. You think about Kyrie and LeBron. Everybody remembers the block in the shot that followed. But game 6, both of them had to score 41 points to keep it going. You had game 5 where Draymond got suspended. So much had to go in Cleveland's direction for them to come back from 3-1 down. And all happened because of the greatness of LeBron and Kyrie. Kevin Love staying in front of Steph Curry is one of the moments I remember from that series. So it was a great series, great team right there, 15-16 Cavaliers, great pick. So now we are back on Mike.
I'm going old school with this pick.
Okay.
Now, this team won a bunch of championships in a row, and they had a bunch of great players that were in the top 75 or great players in NBA history, however you want to call it. That would be the 1963-1964 Boston Celtics. 59-21. You had Bill Russell, Casey Jones, Sam Jones, John Havlicek on that team. They went 8-2 in the playoffs and won a title.
Great pick.
Yeah, going old school right there. Got to pay respect to the OGs of this game. Definitely did that with that pick. And again, I just would love to picture what someone like a Sam Jones is doing when he's trying to guard 96 version of Michael Jordan. Like, what's going to happen? Like, how are they going to adjust to that when he goes flying through the air or he does some move?
I know how he would. He
Okay,
found him in
now-
the parking lot before he got in the stadium, man.
For sure. For sure. No, that's definitely a team right there that you can book it right there as a great squad. Love that pick. So now it is back on me, and I'm going to go old school as well, but I am going to go with the 1971-72 Los Angeles Lakers. Now, this team has the record for consecutive wins during the regular season with 33. The team had Wilt Chamberlain and an older, aging, but still great Jerry West. So you think about those two players along with Gail Goodrich and some of the other players they had on this squad. It was just overall great team, man. And even in Wilt Chamberlain's older years, he still was just causing havoc all over the court. Got you 15 points a game. They weren't doing blocks yet, but he was 14 points a game or 15 points a game and 19 rebounds. Yes, 19 rebounds at age 35. Wilt Chamberlain was still averaging. That is absolutely crazy. They had Gail Goodrich was the leading scorer on that team with 26 points per game. So a great team on both offense and defense. They were first in offensive rating and second in defensive rating that year. So this is a truly dominant team that doesn't get mentioned enough. So I'm gonna go with the 71-72 Los Angeles Lakers.
I give you a lot of credit on that one, bro.
Wilt was doing a lot of that work with no sleep at night.
straight off the beach too, by the way.
That's a great one though. Chamberlain, Baylor, West. Yeah, that's a great team. I never saw a play, obviously, but what I heard, what I read, and yeah, that's a great pick, man.
I appreciate it. So now we are back on C. Lou.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go 02-03 Spurs. That was the team that kept the Lakers from going to 4 straight finals. Well, actually 5 straight finals because they went to the finals after that again. But yeah, I'm gonna go that 02-03 Spurs. They were 16-8 in the playoffs. They beat the Suns, the Lakers, I believe, the Mavericks, and then they beat the Nets in the finals. This was the year that Tim Duncan won the MVP, Finals MVP, and won a ring. So yeah, I'm going there.
Okay. Now I'm definitely not mad at that pick at all. Love that squad. Talk about defense of just making sure that they were even on both sides. Like they were going to agree to offense, but defensively they were so sound. And they're one of the reasons the rules got changed. Them and of course those Pistons team that came after that. It was like, yo, we got to change the rules. Like this, we can't be having these 75 to 70 games out here. We got to get this game more spread out. So you can see why when great teams come along, they make rules get changed. And that's one of the Spurs was definitely one of the reasons for that. So I love that pick by C. Lou. So Jason, we are back to you with back-to-back picks.
Yep. So back-to-back place. I went back-to-back years, 85, 86, and the 86, 87 Lakers. So I'm going to do it again with and I had to be careful with this one because I wanted Rodman. So I'm going to get him on the 89, 90 Pistons. All right, with Isaiah and Rodman, and I'm going to back it up with the 90, 91 Bulls. So 2 champions back-to-back right there from the East. Book it, man.
Okay, so Big C did get the 89, 90 Pistons. Did you want the 88?
I thought we had a violation.
Yeah, I thought he got the year before. I thought he had 87, 88. Then he had
89, 90. So you could get 88, 89.
That's what I want. My bad. I totally apologize. I thought that he had said the other one, which is why I said this one. So that's on me. My fault.
No problem. So you still didn't do the violation. So you're
okay.
Good to go.
Violation. All right. No technical, nothing over there. All right, so I'm cool. 88, 89 Pistons. Hey, I'm all good with that. Same thing. I'm happy.
And you said also 90, 91 Bulls?
And yeah, so that'd be Jordan's first championship against the Lakers, if memory serves. And I know it was his first one, but that team was just fire that playoffs, man. They were a hell of a team. They really were. I know it was the young Bulls, young Jordan, but it was like his 9th year in the league. But, he won his title, whatever it was, 7th year, whatever the hell. I can't do math anymore. But no, that team was freaking lethal.
Nah, for sure. Both of those teams are great. And like you said, you got the first half of those back-to-back Pistons teams. If memory serves correctly, that one's the one who had Mark Aguirre on it, correct? On that first team?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, great scorer. So he's somebody who is underrated in history. So you definitely got that right there. And 99 Bulls, like you said, first championship. young Jordan, young Pippen, Armstrong, Paxson on those squads. Like that's great squad right there. So I like those back-to-back picks. So now we're on to C. Lou, your fifth pick.
Yeah, so now I'm gonna go to 01-02 Lakers, the last team of that first three-peat. Or that three-peat, not first three-peat, but that three-peat. They went, I believe it was like 15-4 in the playoffs or something like that. Shaq finished his finals MVP. They were 7th in defensive rating, but they were 1st in offensive rating, or 2nd in offensive rating. So I'm gonna go there.
Okay. Nah, definitely a great squad. You mentioned third of those championships. You're getting Kobe as he's really coming into his own. Like Kobe is becoming one of the best players in the league at that point. Shaq is still very, very dominant. So you get, the best of both worlds. You got Big Shot Bob on that squad as well. Derek Fisher. You got the prettiest guy ever in the NBA and Rick Fox. You got a great squad right there with the 01-02 Los Angeles Lakers. Oh man. So this puts it back on me. And I'm gonna go ahead. Ooh. See, I'm contemplating a few different teams in my head right now. I'm like, do I want to go with the excitement? Do I want to continue to go with the champions? But one of the teams that I thought should have won a championship, Chris, maybe think about it. I'm gonna go with the 01-02 Sacramento Kings for my next pick. One of the most exciting teams in history. You think about Chris Webber, Peja Stojakovic, Mike Bibby, Vlade Divac, Doug Christie, Bobby Jackson. That team was Hedo Turkoglu. Young Hedo was on that team. That team was stacked with talent. It's going to be, mentioned in history forever, that game 6 where mysteriously the Lakers got all the free throws in the fourth quarter. It's going to be mentioned in history forever that maybe that Kings team would have won a championship. Most likely they beat the Nets in the finals if they make it there. So I'm going to go with the 01-02 Sacramento Kings to add a little excitement right there. The team that didn't get all across that hump, but one of the best teams in history, in my opinion. So 01-02 Sacramento Kings for my 5th pick. Now we're on to Mike Patton.
All right. I kind of thought about it. I was like, do I want to go with the championship? I thought about the same things. I've been thinking about it for a couple rounds now, but I do have to put this team up there, even though they were part of history on the wrong side of history. That'd be the 2015-2016 Golden State Warriors. 73-9, best record in regular season. Of course, we're up on the Cleveland Cavaliers, and of course, Draymond gets thrown out of the game or gets suspended for the next game. You have Kyrie and LeBron going nuts, and of course, the block and the shot in Game 7. Epic collapse at the wrong time. However, they were one of the best teams ever in regular season basketball history.
Nah, that's a great pick right there. Like you mentioned, you don't go 73-9 without being great. You think about Draymond in his prime. You're getting Klay Thompson pre-injuries. You're getting Steph Curry, unanimous MVP, one of the greatest offensive years we've ever seen. So that's a great pick right there. I love that pick. Big C, back-to-back picks.
Man, we got a pivot over here, man. The 2001 Laker pick, that was definitely one of our prime picks, and then that Sacramento King pick was. I'm a big Chris Webber fan, so that was a key pick, man. And a lot of folks forget about Peja Stojakovic, so that was a key pick. So we got to pivot a little bit, but we're gonna get our guy. We're gonna get Big Game Larry on our list. We're gonna get the Celtics. We're gonna take the 87, I believe 86, 87 Boston Celtics, the one that upset my Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals. They didn't win the championship that year. But the steal broke our hearts, man. Forever etched in my mind and history, man. I think I was a young guy. I may have cried. I was like 8 or 9 years old. I may have cried when I saw that, man. So we got to go with, Larry Bird and the 86, 87 Celtics. And then I'm going to go with the team that didn't make it happen. You know what I'm saying? But it was always some great basketball being played, man, in the 90s. So I'm going to take the Phoenix Suns, 1993 Phoenix Suns, man, with Tom Chambers. People forget Tom Chambers was a baller, scored 50 in the All-Star game. Kevin Johnson, just a number of great players, man. Cedric Sabalas from back in the day. A very exciting team who unfortunately ran into the Bulls, man, and that was it. So I'll take those teams, man, after you guys made me pivot.
Nah, great picks right there. You mentioned the 87 Boston Celtics. You're getting still prime Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish. Like that team was loaded. Phoenix, of course, that was the MVP year for Charles Barkley. You mentioned Kevin Johnson. It was funny. I was watching.
On my notes, man. Thank you.
But yeah, now it was funny because I was watching the Knuckleheads podcast with Darius Miles and Quentin Richardson. And the first question they always ask players when they come on there is, who's the first player to bust your ass when you came in the league? And a lot of point guards said Kevin Johnson. Kevin Johnson was that first guy when they got to the league that they couldn't handle. They didn't know what to do with him because he was so smart. And on top of that was a super athletic. We all remember the dunk, or we at least seen the dunk when he dunked on Hakeem Olajuwon going baseline, drove past Kenny Smith in those bow-legged knees. He drove past Kenny Smith, dunked on Hakeem Olajuwon. And Kenny Smith always had to say, I had to apologize to Hakeem for that one because that was totally on me. But yeah, so that team definitely was a very good team. And like you mentioned, if it wasn't Chicago, Charles Barkley has a ring, and all the jokes that we get now about Barkley not having a ring don't happen if it wasn't for Chicago and the Bulls. So I like that pick right there a lot. So just to recap who Big C has so far, he has the 89-90 Detroit Pistons, 92-93 Chicago Bulls, 2014 San Antonio Spurs, the 15-16 Cavaliers, the 86-87 Celtics, and the 92-93 Phoenix Suns. So now we are on Mike Patton, his first 5 picks, 95-96 Bulls, the 2000-2001 Lakers, 2012-2013 Miami Heat, the 63-64 Boston Celtics, and the 15-16 Golden State Warriors. Who's your next pick, Mike?
Can't have a league without having a team in New York. And we got to go with the 1969-1970 New York Knicks.
Yeah.
We got to go with Mr. Willis Reed walking out of the tunnel, limping out of the tunnel to come back into the game. A hero's welcome. They win the title. Phil Jackson is actually a member of that team, by the way, as a player. And you also had Dick Barnett, whose nickname is Skull, who actually went to Tennessee State University, which of course is in Nashville where I live. So hey, got to put it all together in one. New York Knicks. That's my pick.
Oh, okay. I like that right
Which
there.
year was it?
Go
Which
ahead.
one? Which year was it?
He went 69-70 Knicks.
69-70?
Yes.
Gotcha.
So the New York fans will appreciate that. You know, a lot of people are not old enough to remember their championship teams that the Knicks had. I got a lot of Knicks fans in my life, so I got to throw that dig in there. I got to put the little knife on the side and say it's been a long time since you guys had a champion. Sorry about that, Jay, but you got to put that in there.
I'm living with it. In my team, I live and die with them.
But I like that pick right there. It's a good pick. And like you said, the Knicks just having a team in New York in your league, which I didn't think about. I didn't think about location. That's a really good extra, thing to put in there. Like, oh, you might want to have the right locations in your league. I just picked Sacramento. It's not the best location to have in my league, but I like that team a lot, so I got to stick with them. So now for my 6 pick, my first 5 picks was 2011-12 Miami Heat, the 2021 Milwaukee Bucks, 91-92 Chicago Bulls, 71-72 Lakers, and the 01-02 Sacramento Kings. So I'm going to go back to 2011-2012. I'm going to take the 2011-2012 OKC Thunder on my squad. Think about that team. You got Kevin Durant in his prime, young Russ, James Harden. That team was absolutely Serge Ibaka. It was so much young talent on that squad. We thought that team was going to make it to the finals for the next 10 years, but it didn't happen. But having that young squad in my league, a team that can grow for the next 5-10 years together. Oh, I'm very excited about that team. I thought they would be taken by now, but I'm going to take the 11-12 OKC Thunder. So now we are on Chris, his first 5 picks, 17-18 Golden State Warriors, 95-96 Seattle Supersonics, 90-91 Portland Trailblazers, the 02-03 San Antonio Spurs, and the 01-02 Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, so I went 02-03 Spurs, and I gotta go 02-03 New Jersey Nets. The team that the Spurs beat in the finals. Now that team, they were like 12-2 on their way to the finals, and then they lost 4-2 in the finals. So it was a pretty good team. They were first in defensive rating, so they brought the defense out. But yeah, I'm going there. You get the prime Jason Kidd. Yeah.
Okay. Now we all know Jason Kidd is one of your favorite players. You did pick him in your all-time player draft last time we did this. And I said I made the joke about Tony Braxton gonna break the team up.
I'll break some hearts up in there. I'll break some hearts.
But Jay Kidd in his prime, man, those 2 years where he led the Nets to the finals, being a point guard to do that, of course, only a few teams know about people doing that. Of course, my man Big C knows about that with Isaiah Thomas. So only a few point guards can say they were the best guy on their squad to lead team to the finals. Steph Curry, of course, is etched in that as well. So that Jason Kidd, man, absolutely one of the greatest point guards of all time. Kenyon Martin, very underrated defender, big time athlete on that squad. Kerry Kittles, you had a young Richard Jefferson right there before the hair was lost on that squad. So yeah, that's a very good team right there. I like those 3 New Jersey Nets. So now we're on to Jason. His first 5 picks were the 2016-17 Golden State Warriors, 86-87 Los Angeles Lakers, 85-86 Boston Celtics, 88-89 Pistons, and the 90-91 Bulls. So what's your next pick, Jay?
I'm going to go back to the 80s. Give me the 82-83 76ers, man, with Dr. J, MVP Moses Malone that year. I mean, come on now, let's go. They were 12-1 in the postseason. They were dominant. They beat up on Magic and Kareem. Beat them up.
That's a great pick right there. We all know the famous quote, "Fo, fo, fo."
That's right.
Yeah, it was from that year. Moses Malone, because of time, has become extremely underrated. You talk about a multiple-time MVP, somebody who was a monster on the boards. Like one of those first guys, like he missed it, he's gonna get his own shot anyway. Like his offensive rebounds was absolutely crazy. Man, him and Dr. J together, that team was absolutely loaded. Like you said, one of the greatest teams of all time for sure. So I like that pick right there. And that's one of the reasons I wanted you on, because I knew you was going to come with the old school picks, the old school knowledge. So I love that pick right there. So what's your next pick?
You see, a lot of years have been thrown out. There's something I just got to ask. Is the that championship team was taken, but the 06-07 Spurs, they weren't taken, were they?
They were not picked.
Yeah, I didn't think so. So you know what? I'm going to take Ginobili. Yeah, I mean, it speaks for itself. Duncan Ginobili Parker, 06-07 Spurs champion. I'll take them.
Okay. 06-07. That team was a very good team. It kind of gets lost in history because they beat the young Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron taking that team to the finals. It was the first season where we was like, oh, this LeBron dude's different. And people kind of forget that the Spurs just kind of wiped them out in the finals there. Tony Parker won finals MVP that season. Tony Parker is another one who people argue could have been top 75 all time. You look at his playoff results and what he did. Great pick right there. Love that pick. Young Ginobili in his prime, hair flowing through the wind as he Euro stepped to the lane. So I like that pick right there. So now we're back on Chris.
Yeah, so I'm going old school this one. I'm gonna take the 66-67 Philadelphia 76ers. You had a prime Wilt Chamberlain. They won the finals that year. Wilt averaged 28 rebounds in that finals, which is just ridiculous.
It makes you laugh, bro. Like it's so dumb.
Leaning the boards.
Yeah, they were first. They were first in the offensive rating. They were averaging like 101 points per game. That's a lot back then. And they were like third in defensive rating, which they were only letting up 93 points. So I'm going with that team. Yeah, I don't think there's much else to say.
Okay. I definitely like that right there for that pick. Great pick right there. And I'm going back and forth. It's now my pick. Let me recap my picks as I waste a little time here. Yeah, the 2011-2012 Miami Heat, the 21 Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis, 91-2 Bulls, 71-72 Lakers, the 01-02 Sacramento Kings, and the 2011-2012 OKC Thunder. So for this next team, this team did not have big time success, but they're one of my favorite teams of all time because of the potential of this team. I think if you put them in another reality and another chance to be a team, there's no telling what could happen with this team. And the combination of the two stars that could have been with this squad, I'm gonna put the 99-2000 Toronto Raptors. So when you look back at this squad, 99-2000, you're talking about, of course, Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady on the same team. Absolutely crazy squad right there. And they had veterans too. So they had veterans that could help you league and help you maneuver things like Muggsy Bogues and D Brown. Doug Christie was on that team, Del Curry, Antonio Davis. It was full of these veterans around these two young guys. Of course, you got Vince in his prime. So Vince is somebody at that time who you could really build your league around. The fact that I got Vince Carter going against a prime LeBron James and Giannis and Jordan, going against also, KD and Russell Westbrook. I love having that team because of those players. Like I said, it's not a team that you're going to remember in history as far as being successful, but the excitement that they can bring to a league is the reason I have them there. So I'm going to go 99-2000 Toronto Raptors right there. So now we are on Mike.
All right, I'm going to go the 1993-1994 Houston Rockets.
Oh,
58-24, second in the Western Conference that year. Hakeem the Dream definitely got it done, and he befuddled Shaq in the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
he definitely did. But no, 93-94 was when they played Knicks. They played Patrick Ewing in them that year. 94-95 was the Magic.
Okay. Yeah, I got my years mixed up. But
yeah, it's definitely because he definitely did the same thing to Patrick Ewing as well in the final.
Right.
Yeah, Hakeem was somebody who was known for making great centers not so great when they played against him that year. And you think about the help they had with Kenny Smith and Mario Elie and Maxwell, right. Vernon Maxwell. They had a squad.
As long as he wasn't going into the stands after people, he was okay.
Yes. Yes. You don't want him going into the stands after people in your league. But that's one of the things that made him great was that mean streak that he had on the court, as long as it didn't trickle off the court, which happened a few times with Max. But great team right there, the 93-94 Houston Rockets. So now we're on the Big C with back-to-back picks.
Yes, sir, man. I you guys already referenced this team earlier, so I know it's on a few of you guys' minds. So I got to go ahead and grab them right now. A team, like you said so eloquently before me, Damian. This team did not have a great amount of team championship success, but it was definitely a fun team to watch, and I enjoyed the whole fallout from Braxton Gate. So give me 95 Mavericks with Jason Kidd, with Jamal Mashburn, and Jim Jackson, man. I watched Jim Jackson ball, in the Big Ten at Ohio State. I watched Jamal Mashburn, the classic matchup against the Fab Five, man. Jalen Rose. So I followed those guys' career a long time, and they were a problem, man, in Dallas, man. And unfortunately, man, a lady came in and broke the whole damn thing up, man. But I take that team. Very entertaining team, man.
Definitely a very entertaining team. I would love to see that team stay together longer. That's one of those situations where you put them in your league. Maybe you keep Tony Braxton out of the locker room. And next thing you know, this team gets a chance to grow.
If somebody need to take, get Tony Braxton out the mix, man, I would take that hit for the team.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I would take that hit for the team. As the coach, GM, owner, all that, get all the distractions out of the way so you guys can go out there and ball, man. You know what I mean? Tony, come on over here for a second. Just chill for a minute.
I love that pick right there. Like you mentioned, Young J Kidd, Jim Jackson, Jamal Mashburn, all those guys can get you points. Jason Kidd can get you the points. He didn't have the J at that point. They was calling him Asen Kidd at that point because he didn't have any J. But he definitely was still very, very effective with his passing and defense. So I like that pick right there. So who are you picking next?
Next, man, I got to get a version of that Kobe Shaq, Laker lineage, man. So I'm going to go 2000 with the Lakers, man. I got to get a big man, to kind of man the middle. And I got to have Kobe, man, who can do it all, man. Put, points on the board. It's just relentless and whatever, defense, shooting, scoring. One of the best to ever do it. Definitely a guy who's on my Mount Rushmore for the NBA. So that 2000 Lakers team is a team that I'll take.
Great squad right there. And it's crazy because that team was so close to losing in those playoffs, right? Or we all remember the 15-point comeback against the Portland Trailblazers, Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals. And it's rumored that team didn't come back from that. They were going to be broken up. People forget, they got together in 96. They didn't win till 2000. And people were kind of this team should be winning by now. And they didn't. But then they finally got over that hump against the Trailblazers. And of course, in the finals in 2000, went ahead and beat the Pacers and, Al Dul, Jalen Rose, and Reggie Miller and those guys. So I like that pick right there, man. Love your league so far. So far for Big C, he has the 89-90 Detroit Pistons, 92-93 Bulls, 13-14 Spurs, 15-16 Cavaliers, 86-87 Boston Celtics, 92-93 Phoenix Suns, 94-95 Dallas Mavericks, and the 99-2000 Los Angeles Lakers. So now we're on to Mike Patton.
All right. I had a little bit of a tougher choice. So I wanted to go with a team that was good, or do I want to go with a team that's a champion? I think I'm going to pick a champion. This team is unique because I don't believe they have anyone in the top 75 of players.
Oh,
That would be the 2003-2004 Detroit Pistons with Larry Brown as the head coach. So, yeah, that's a team I'm taking. They beat a team with 4 Hall of Famers on it in Shaq, Kobe, Gary Payton, and Karl Malone. So that's the team I'm taking.
Okay.
Trying to sneak them through, brother.
Oh no, I did my list. I did my homework. No, they could not get past.
Oh man, nah, I definitely like that pick right there. Like you mentioned, none of those guys made the top 75, but as a unit, they were so just together. It had such a cohesiveness between them defensively. I remember in the All-Star game, it was the first time in the All-Star game where people was like, man, we can't score. Like when those 4 guys got out there, it was like, yo, y'all playing real defense. Y'all need y'all to chill out while in the All-Star game right now. But that's the reason they made it to All-Star game is because of their defense. When they got out there, they definitely showed that. So 03-04 Pistons, definitely a good squad. I know Big C was hurting when you made that pick. He probably was waiting, thought he could slide that one in there late.
I was waiting. I thought I had a value. They're number 2 on my list. I thought I had a value.
But nah, good pick by Mike right there. And so far from Mike, you have the 95-96 Bulls, the 2000-2001 Lakers, 2012-2013 Miami Heat, 63-64 Boston, 15-16 Golden State Warriors, 69-70 New York Knicks, 93-94 Houston Rockets, and the 03-04 Detroit Pistons. All right, so for my next pick, this team is another team, potential. If they would have stayed together, instead of splitting up, and there's no telling what would have happened with this squad. But man, were they exciting when they played together. And they have the designation of saying, we beat Michael Jordan in the 90s in the playoff series. I'm going to go to 94-95 Orlando Magic, Penny Hardaway, Shaquille O'Neal, Nick Anderson on that squad. You also had D3 just killing Dennis Scott on that squad as well. That squad, man, full of potential. Mike mentioned earlier, though, they ran into the Rockets in the finals, and Akeem Olajuwon had his way with Shaq. Young Shaq didn't know what to do with Akeem. But, man, the chance to have those guys develop in my league, along with the Raptors and the young OKC Thunder, there's a lot of youth in my league, and that's what I was going for, teams that can develop over time. And I really like having this squad right here. So 94-95 Orlando Magic for my pick. So that gives my league the 2011-12 Miami Heat, 2021 Milwaukee Bucks, 91-92 Bulls, 71-72 Lakers, 01-02 Sacramento Kings, 11-12 OKC Thunder, 99-2000 Toronto Raptors, and the 94-95 Orlando Magic. So now we're back on Chris.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go back to 02-03 or 03-04, my bad, 03-04. And I'm gonna select the team that lost to the Detroit Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals, and that's the Indiana Pacers, who had, they had Al Harrington, Jermaine O'Neal, Metta World Peace. And so, the Pistons were all defense. They were like second defensively, and then the Pacers were third, like right behind them. So like even that Eastern Conference Finals, low scoring games, just a defensive game. They had an old Reggie Miller, but it was just defense for 6 games. So I'm going with that team right there.
Okay, and you said that was 02-03 or 03-04?
03-04 Pacers.
Okay, that's a great pick right there, because when you listen to the Pacers now, it's older, when they talk about that team, they're like, man, we have so much potential, especially that next year. Of course, we all know what happened and why they didn't really have a good year that next year. But that team, man, you talk about having Reggie Miller, the veteran, but you had a young, those teams, man, because people forget about like people like Austin Crozier on that squad who could ball, Al Harrington, like you mentioned, Fred Jones, dunk contest winner right there, Jermaine O'Neal in his prime, Jamal Tinsley, you mentioned Metta World Peace. That squad was decent, man. That was a good squad right there. And, no telling what would have happened with Jonathan Bender if he was healthy That's a dude that, you always hear about what the possibilities were with him. So I like that pick right there, man. That's a very, very under the radar pick right there from Chris, but he always brings that. He always brings those under the radar picks, man. So I like that pick. So now for Chris's league, he has a 17-18 Warriors, 95-96 Supersonics, 90-91 Trailblazers, the 02-03 Spurs, 01-02 Lakers, 02-03 Nets, 66-67 Philadelphia 76ers, and the 03-04 Pacers. So now we're on to Jay with back-to-back picks.
All right. Let's go with anything's possible. 07-08 Celtics. Garnett
Okay.
here. So that'll be, I guess, my 8th team. All right. And the second one, nobody took the 2011-2012 Heat, did they?
No, that was no one said 2011, 2012 or 2010, 2011.
2011, 2012.
That was my first pick.
That was the first, then 2010, 2011, nobody took, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I got to get me some LeBron, but I'm trying to think which way I want to do that because I ain't got LeBron on my team yet, and I definitely got to have him.
Yeah.
So, look, I know they lost the finals that year, but I don't give a damn. So I will take the 2010, 2011 Miami Heat.
Okay. Now, it's definitely a loaded squad that should have won the finals. You have LeBron had to go through that learning curve of having a team that was going to zone up against him like that and play him in different ways. And you have to give Rick Carlisle and that coaching staff for Dallas a lot of credit for beating them, but definitely a very talented team. And you want that type of talent in your league. So I like that pick right there. 07-08 Boston Celtics. You got 3 all, 75 players on there with Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen on that squad. So I like those 2 picks right there. So far for Jay, he has 9 picks in now. It's flying by. He has a 16-17 Golden State Warriors, 86-87 Lakers, 85-86 Celtics, the 88-89 Detroit Pistons, 90-91 Bulls, 82-83 Philadelphia 76ers, the 06-07 Spurs, the 07-08 Celtics, and the 2010-2011 Miami Heat. So now we are back on Chris, who surprisingly has no Heat teams.
Y'all took all the good ones. But no, I'm gonna go what is it, 06-07 Miami Heat actually. Or was it 05-06? The year we won the championship. Yeah, 05-06. That's what I'm going with.
05-06 Miami Heat.
Yeah, when you had the prime Dwayne Wade. Actually no, I can't because they got Shaq.
Oh, I was waiting.
Yeah,
I was waiting. I was about to get it back.
I remember that. And that's why I didn't have one. But we're gonna go 08-09 Magic. That was the year they went to the finals with Dwight Howard. He was defensive player of the year that year. And they went to the finals, but they lost, unfortunately, to the Lakers. But that was the team that put LeBron and the Cavs out of the playoffs. They put the Boston Celtics out of the playoffs. So I'm going with them.
Okay. Now that's a very good squad right there. People like to act like that squad didn't exist because people don't like Dwight Howard, but that squad was definitely a beast of a squad. You think about Rashard Lewis and Hedo Turkoglu and Jameer Nelson, that just them, and Dwight Howard, for all the flack that he gets, dude was a defensive player of the year, can get you 22, 10 rebounds, or 22 and 12, get you 3 blocks. If he's blocking 3 shots, he's altering 12 or 13 throughout the game. Like, Dwight Howard's an absolute menace on the defensive end of the floor, and that team was loaded, man. So I'll definitely like that pick a lot of the 08-09 Orlando Magic.
I'll tell you, all I remember from that series right there, guys, is when LeBron hit that game winner, and he was more shocked than anybody else on the planet. He couldn't believe it. He was like, "Are you shitting me? He went nuts. He went crazy. Couldn't believe that he hit a shot that far out."
Yeah, I definitely remember that.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. That's the play that gets replayed. So people forget, like, Orlando went on to dominate the rest of the series.
Oh, they killed him.
Yeah, so that's what people forget about. But that was the play that gets replayed over and over again because LeBron hit that game-winning shot. And that was game 2, I believe. They hit that game-winning shot.
It was game 2.
Yeah, and then Orlando went on to win the rest of the series. So
me and my boy Jamel were sitting there. We were watching the whole thing. We were freaking out. But I remember distinctly after, I'm like, "Yo, he is the most shocked motherfucker on the whole planet right now." That shot.
Nah, it was a great shot and a great reaction by LeBron and those Cavaliers there. So now it's time for me to make my 9th pick. Ooh. So still so many great teams and exciting teams throughout history that you can pick from. And gotta go ahead. I'm gonna take the 79-80 Los Angeles Lakers. So this is rookie Magic Johnson, prime Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Yeah, Michael Cooper on that team. A great squad. You know, the season 1 of Winning Time on HBO was about this season of this team, and the Lakers been, a lot of those past Lakers been saying it wasn't true. I think there's a lot of truth to what was going on in that series. Of course, they exaggerated something to make it more entertaining, but I think there's a lot of things going on there that were true. That team went on to win a championship in 6 games over the Philadelphia 76ers. Probably one of the reasons that the 76ers went ahead and picked up Moses Malone a few years later, because they couldn't handle Kareem in the post. But of course, it's known for Magic Johnson making his stamp in the league. Game 6, Kareem's hurt. He plays center and has one of the greatest games of all time. So to have a rookie Magic Johnson in your league, along with a young Shaq, young Penny, you got Vince Carter in his prime, Tracy McGrady coming into his prime, young Kevin Durant. This is loaded with young players. So this is a Hoopers only association. It's full of Hoopers. That's what we was going for right there. So 79-80 Los Angeles Lakers. So now it's Mike Patton.
All right. Did a little bit of thinking on who I wanted to go to. Not a championship team, but a team that probably would have been in the NBA Finals if it wasn't for the Heat. That'd be the 2010-2011 Chicago Bulls, 62-20. An MVP, Derrick Rose. You got Joakim Noah, Boozer. You got Luol Deng on the wings, and you got a pretty deep bench. Unfortunately, they ran into the Miami Heat and LeBron James. The rest was history.
Yes, great pick right there. You mentioned MVP Derrick Rose. Another what if? Maybe in your league he doesn't get hurt, or maybe they take care of his knee better because you got better trainers, you got better doctors, and he doesn't have that same injury history. He gets to develop into a multiple-time All-Star. You know, somebody, instead of just 3 All-Stars, he makes 8 or 9 in your league because he's taken care of better, and that team gets to develop a little bit more. And maybe you have prime Jimmy Butler along with prime Derrick Rose some years down the line, instead of having an injured Derrick Rose along with Jimmy Butler coming into his prime. So you never know, man, what could happen when a team develops. So I like that pick right there. So now we're on
my heart,
to,
man.
Go ahead, say it one more time.
That still hurts my heart.
Yeah, no, I'm not even a Bulls fan. It hurts my heart, man, because I definitely was a big Derrick Rose fan at that time and wanted to see him develop into something special. And he definitely was able to continue his career and be a very good pro. But now it's a question if he's going to make the Hall of Fame. And at that time, it looked like Hall of Fame was nothing. And now it's a question. It's crazy to me that it's a question that he's going to make it. So now we're on to Big C with your last 2 picks.
Last 2. Okay. So this my first pick is strictly a homer favorite, man. I'm upset, man. I didn't get the 2001-2002 Sacramento Kings with C Webb, man. So I'm gonna grab him here, man, on another unsuccessful team. But hey, we're gonna get C Webb on this squad. And we're gonna take the what year is this? The 93-94 Golden State Warriors.
Oh,
Latrell Sprewell, Chris Mullin. I was trying to get a little bit of that TMC action, but they didn't really have the best of seasons when they were all together. So I like this version of the Golden State Warriors with Chris Webber again. Who else did we have on here? Who else did I just say?
Hardaway on that team.
Choke him up, Latrell.
yeah.
And aging Chris Mullin, man. So I'll go with that squad. Chris only played the 1 year there, man. I feel like if they would have kept it together, they could have been dangerous in the West. But last but not least for my picks, man, I got to get the game changer. Again, another guy who I was late to the party on, man. I didn't believe in Steph, He was, the ankles was always getting broke early on. Kyrie had them all broke up early, man. But he's, definitely proven that he's a warrior. He's a selfless leader. Definitely changed the game with his shooting ability. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to take maybe a surprise here. I'm going to take the latest iteration. I'm going to take the 2022 version of the Golden State Warriors, simply because I think this team has a lot left in the tank. Have some aging stars, but they also have some young guys who are coming up, the pipeline, and Moody and Kuminga. And these guys possibly have another 1 or 2 championship runs left in them. So I'll take the latest iteration of the Golden State Warriors 2022.
Okay. All right. And for the Golden State Warriors, just trying to verify here. It might have been 92, 93. One second. Let's see here.
For C-Web.
Yeah, trying to
Looks,
verify.
I think it said
Oh no, you're correct. You're correct. He was last one.
yeah, 93, 94.
Yeah, 93, 94 was his rookie year. And it's crazy that he had a player option as a rookie and got out of there after that 1 year. Absolutely nuts right there. But you took in this year's Golden State Warriors. You got Steph Curry, who at 34 is still playing at a very high level. Klay Thompson, who's coming back off the injuries, but he may be back to himself next year. Draymond Green is still being Draymond. He's no longer at the same high level he was back in those first championship years, but he's still impactful in different ways, being the annoyance that he is on the court in Draymond Green. But for your 10 teams, 89-90 Pistons, 92-93 Bulls, 13-14 Spurs, 15-16 Cavs, 86-87 Boston Celtics, 92-93 Phoenix Suns, 94-95 Dallas Mavericks, 99-2000 Lakers, 93-94 Golden State Warriors, and the 21-22 Golden State Warriors. Like your league right here. So we're definitely going to get to it to where we explain why our leagues are the best, but you definitely got some squads there for your league right there.
I think you said 2 Golden State Warrior teams. I don't think I have them on that. Oh, yes, I do. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I almost forgot about Chris Webber there that 1 year.
So now we're on to Mike Patton for your last pick.
Oh man, I got to pick between a boring team and a team that actually is exciting. So, but they do have one thing in common. They both lost to the Chicago Bulls in the NBA Finals. Just 2 different iterations. Let's see. I'm gonna go with the 1989-1990 Portland Trail Blazers.
Okay, 89-90 Portland Trail Blazers. Okay.
Yeah, or was that the 90? I'm sorry, the 91-92 Portland Trail Blazers. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's the one I meant.
91-92 Portland Trail Blazers. Very good team right
Yep.
there. We mentioned earlier Clyde Drexler, one of the most underrated players in history. So what is about
Jerome
this squad that you
Kersey.
like so much?
Jerome Kersey out there just getting it done. You had Kevin Duckworth in the middle. You had Terry Porter at the point. I mean, I just like the chemistry of that team, even though Rick Adelman is always the guy that escorts the bride to the ultimate goal every single place he's been. But hey, he definitely was a successful coach. He just couldn't get over that hump. And I definitely just like the chemistry of that team and just the ability of that team. Just unfortunately, they ran into the greatest of all time at the wrong time.
Yeah, for sure. Great squad right there. I like that pick. So for your 10 teams, you have the 95-96 Bulls, 2000-2001 Lakers, 12-13 Miami Heat, 63-64 Boston Celtics, 15-16 Golden State Warriors, 69-70 New York Knicks, 93-94 Houston Rockets, 03-04 Detroit Pistons, 2010-2011 Chicago Bulls, and the 91-92 Portland Trail Blazers. All right, so now it's time for my last pick. And I've really been struggling with this one. Because there's so many great teams throughout history. I feel like I'm missing so many teams right now for this last pick. But I feel like I have to have Steph Curry in my league. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the 14-15 Golden State Warriors, that first championship year. Man, you talk about a team right there that is the beginning of a dynasty. We didn't know it at the time. Like this new team came along. At that time, we were thinking maybe, Chris Paul and the Clippers can get over the hump. And then next thing you know, this Golden State Warriors team came along and were able to beat LeBron in the finals that year. We know LeBron was dealing with a lot without K-Love being there because his shoulder got pulled out of his socket in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Celtics that year. And then Kyrie Irving got hurt the first game of the NBA Finals, but this team pulled it out. So you get Steph in his prime, Klay in his prime, Draymond in his prime. You got Andre Iguodala on that squad. Like, this team was absolutely loaded, strength in numbers, Sean Livingston, Leandro Barbosa. This team was super deep. Before, they got Kevin Durant. It was a team that just everybody loved. So I think this team is going to be a good team to have in your league as far as a fan favorite. So give me the 14-15 Golden State Warriors. So for my league, I have the 2011-12 Miami Heat, 21 Milwaukee Bucks, 92 Bulls, 72 Lakers, 02 Sacramento Kings, the 2011-12 OKC Thunder, 99-2000 Toronto Raptors, 94-95 Orlando Magic, 79-80 Los Angeles Lakers, and the 14-15 Golden State Warriors. All right, so Chris, your last pick.
Yeah, so this might surprise a lot of people, but I'm gonna go here. The 21-22 Miami Heat. And I'm going with this squad because this was a very good defensive team. We made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. We're number one in the Eastern Conference this year. We took the Hawks 5 games. We took Philly 6 games, and then we took Boston Celtics 7 games. And Jimmy Butler was playing absolutely out of his mind in the playoffs. So I'm going with the 21-22 Miami Heat roster or team.
Okay. Now, definitely a very good team. They were a pull-up 3 away from making it to the NBA Finals. Jimmy Butler hits that 3. No telling what happens the rest of that game, but man, we're talking a whole different story now. If you have Miami make it to the finals, maybe that type of team gives Golden State a little more trouble, being more disciplined, a little more, veteran leadership on that team compared to the Boston Celtics, who got to the finals. So I like that pick right there. So for your 10 squads, you have the 17-18 Golden State Warriors, 95-96 Sonics, 90-91 Trailblazers, 02-03 Spurs, 01-02 Lakers, 02-03 Nets, the 66-67 76ers, 03-04 Pacers, 08-09 Magic, and a 21-22 Miami Heat. So Jason, it's time for your last pick.
Yep, my last pick. I'm very happy with my league, which I'm changing the name, obviously, because I thought I was picking a team name. Stupid me. But I'm going to change the name after I make my final pick, the most famous combination in NBA history, maybe, Stockton to Malone. Give me the 97-98 Utah Jazz. I know they didn't beat Jordan and the boys, but they pretty much would have beat everybody else.
Okay. No, I definitely like that pick right there. A team that made it to back-to-back finals. You get them that second year. Like you mentioned, John Stockton, guy who leads the league in assists and steals all time, both by wide margins. Like, it's nuts when you really look at the numbers, how many assists he had throughout his career and how many steals he had throughout his career. When we talk about Jason Kidd, how great of a defender he was, he's like 600 steals behind John Stockton. Like, it's absolutely nuts what John Stockton was able to do throughout his career because of his consistency. He was somebody who, in your league, you want somebody who plays every day. John Stockton definitely played every day. Like, he literally only missed a few games in most of his years until like that, the 2000s when he was too old to be out there. But most of his career, he was playing most of the games. So great pick right there. We all know Karl Malone, third highest scorer of all time, incredibly consistent as well. Like, when you talk about Utah, you're talking about consistency. That's what that team did. So I definitely like that pick. So for your 10 teams, you have the 2016-17 Golden State Warriors, 86-87 Los Angeles Lakers, 85-86 Boston Celtics, 88-89 Pistons, 90-91 Bulls, 82-83 76ers, 07-08 Celtics, 2010-2011 Miami Heat, and the 97-98 Utah Jazz. All right, so I have an idea. You guys can vote yay or nay on it. So to bring you behind the curtain a little bit, we were supposed to have 6 people, but our 6th person had a little emergency, couldn't make it. So we were supposed to have 60 teams. So my idea is we can go 12 teams and pick 2 more for our leagues. If you guys have time to do it, yay or nay, Mike, yay or nay?
Yeah, I'm with it.
Okay, Jay, yay or nay?
Hey, I'm a team player, man. Let's go.
All right, Big C, yay or nay? You muted, Carlton.
I'm sorry, I'm with it. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Chris, yay or nay?
I'm with it. Even if I said no, majority rules, but yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna pick 2 more squads, which means that Jay gets 1 more pick since it would have been back-to-back picks right there. So now you're pick number 11.
This actually kind of works out great because I was really only missing 1 player from my entire squad, and that is the late great Kobe Bryant. So give me the 08-09 Lakers, Kobe and Gasol.
Okay, 08-09 Lakers. Great pick right there. You mentioned Kobe. And Kobe at that time was still just so good. He was no longer the explosive guy with the fro on his head, but the footwork, the ability, and he still could get to the going yam on you. Like, I remember it was that year or the year before they played against my New Orleans Hornets in the playoffs, first round. He broke down the middle of the lane and dunked on Emeka Okafor. So nasty. I still have the nightmares of it because we had a chance in that series. People forget that first round series was actually pretty close. And he dunked on Emeka Okafor, everything changed. So that team was definitely a great team right there. And
they beat the Magic, the Magic team we were just talking about.
Yeah, so they beat the team that Chris has in his league, the 08-09 Magic. So now we're on to your number 11 pick, Chris.
Yeah, so my number 11 pick, I'm going with the 14-15 Atlanta Hawks.
Ooh.
This year, they were pretty much neck and neck when it comes to offense and defense. They had like a 6 overall defensive rating, 6 overall offensive rating. They had Paul Millsap, Al Horford. And if you remember them dudes in their prime, like when they were playing together, them two dudes were nasty. So yeah, I'm gonna go there. That's also the year they had Kent Bazemore, his second year, Kyle Korver. Yeah, I'm going there. Thabo Cephalosha, defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Teague at point guard.
Yep, yeah. Jeff Teague at point guard.
Yeah, no, that was a good team. It was a good team for sure. I like that pick. And with you're not picking all champions. You're going with teams that will try and get over the hump. So you have teams that have a new chance. They have a new lease on life with your league, a chance to get that championship they didn't get in real life right there. So I like that for pick right there. So now for my 11th pick,
to a whole new level, bro.
So now for my 11th pick, you mentioned it, Jay. There's a few players who I don't have, so I'm gonna take this chance to get those guys. You took the 08-09 Lakers. I'm gonna take the 2009-2010 Lakers. That team won a championship, back-to-back chips there. Yep. And you still got Kobe, who's still very good, Pau Gasol, Metta World Peace on that team. It's a great squad that was able to grind it out. Like, it wasn't a team that was straight dominant. Like, it wasn't one of those teams that went 15-1 in the playoffs, anything like that. But they were a team that found a way to get it done. And it was kind of Kobe's last stand in the playoffs. So I definitely like to have that squad and have that player in my league. So 09-010 Lakers is where I'm going with it. Mike.
Now there's something to be said for that, though. You know, grinding it out and even going 7 games in Boston. So there's something. I think there. You don't have to sweep in order to be one of the greatest, most legendary of all time. Sometimes you got to go up against the best and head to head 7 games, man. So I like it.
Yeah, for sure. Now, some of the greatest teams of all time, 15-16 Cavs, for example, had to go 7 games. Like, you have to be tested sometimes to really show your greatness. And that 09-010 team definitely showed that for sure. So now we're on the mic with your 11th pick.
All right, let's see. All right, I'm going to go with the 96-97 Utah Jazz with John Stockton and Karl Malone. Now, of course, they had the same result. They lost to Michael Jordan in the finals. But, of course, a year younger. They were definitely pretty good. I believe they had Shandon Anderson coming in off the bench on that team.
Oh, good pull right there, Shandon Anderson.
So, yeah, that was like the only year before he went to Houston, and he just became a guy. So, and then they had Howard Isley as the backup point guard too. So, yeah, definitely was a very solid and good team. Just ran into a Bulls team that had, again, the greatest player of all time.
I love that pick right there. We mentioned all their accolades earlier when you talk about Karl Malone and John Stockton, those guys. You got to love Byron Russell, had the guts and belief he could guard Jordan for some reason. So you got to love that confidence that he had.
That push off like a champ, push off like a champ.
I love that pick. So now, Big C, this time for real, it's your final 2 picks.
My final 2 picks. Okay. So this next pick, I'm gonna pay some homage to some teams. I don't have a team on my I don't have a team in my league that was picked before 1980. So I'm gonna go way back, and I was kind of dissuaded earlier because Mike took I believe he took the 63-64 version of this team, but I'm gonna go with the 62-63 version of the Celtics, which featured 9 Hall of Fame players. Including, the great Bill Russell. So I'll take them. And this last pick again is a pick where, really picking from the heart. I don't know how great this team was, but I remember this game when in '87 to the Atlanta Hawks when they played the Boston Celtics in the playoffs. I believe it was I don't know if it was the Eastern Conference Finals or maybe the semifinals. And Dominique Wilkins, man, was in a duel, man, with Larry Bird in the 4th quarter, man. And unfortunately, Dominique came up on the short end of the stick, but he was playing in the era where there were just some great teams, man, in the East, and unfortunately, he wasn't able to get to the finals. But a great player. I would love to have him on my team. The human highlight, the human highlight film. Would love to have him in my league. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the 87 Atlanta Atlanta Hawks. I almost said Falcons. Atlanta Hawks.
Nah, I like that pick right there. Dominique Wilkins is definitely majorly underrated. You don't get 26,000 points just dunking. Like he had to have skills to do it, along with being a human highlight film. Definitely a beast. And like you said, duel with Larry Bird. If that duel goes, a few points go a different way. We're looking at Dominique Wilkins a lot differently. If he makes it to the finals and maybe they win, he has a championship on his roster, on his resume. So I like that pick right there a lot. So now for your 12 teams, we have the 88 or 89, 90 Pistons, 92, 93 Bulls, the 13, 14 Spurs, 15, 16 Cavs, 86, 87 Boston, 92, 93 Phoenix Suns, 94, 95 Dallas Mavericks, 99, 2000 Lakers, 93, 94 Golden State Warriors. A lot of love for the 90s on your list right here.
The 90s, baby, the best era. That
Yes.
might be the name of my league. The 90s, the best era.
You have the 21, 22 Golden State Warriors, 62, 63 Boston Celtics, and the 86, 87 Atlanta Hawks right there. All right, Mike, your last pick.
All right, I'm gonna go with the one team that actually took the Bulls to 7 games, which Michael Jordan, as everyone knows, did not really go to 7 games very many times in his career.
Yeah.
That would be the 97-98 Indiana Pacers, 58-24, Reggie Miller. You got Mark Jackson at the point guard spot. You had Jalen Rose, I believe, coming in off the bench, I believe.
Yeah, you still
You had Rick Smits, Derek McKee. I mean, I could go on and on with the names of the players. I think you had Hayward Workman on that team too. So, yeah, you had a lot of different players on that team that filled different roles. And I mean, they were talented. They just couldn't get over the hump. That is the greatest of all time, Michael Jordan.
Nah, that is a great pick right there. Definitely a throwback. You're talking about Reggie Miller, who still has some years in the tank right there. Jalen Rose right before he emerged as the guy, I believe it was either the next year or the year after, he won Most Improved Player and got that big contract that, you know, at that time they were giving out those 7-year contracts, which you don't see today. But at that time, he got a huge contract for, it was 72 or 7 years, I believe like $100 million. So shout out
to the Bulls, by the way, too.
Say that one more time.
I think it was to the Bulls too, by the way.
Yeah, he ended up getting traded to the Bulls, I believe, right after he signed that. So yeah, the Bulls definitely paid him a lot of money, and he was balling. That team wasn't too good, but he was balling though. So you gotta love that.
Isn't it amazing how many times we've said the sentence, they would have won this many championships, or he would have won this many championships if it wasn't for Michael Jordan? I mean, how many times have we heard that in our lives, man? For real, he is. Just
yeah, nah, it's
more teams.
Yeah,
if it wasn't for Jordan, I'm a Knicks fan. You know, damn it! If it wasn't for freaking Jordan, shit.
Nah, you gotta love that, man. And you talking about like, and that's one of the reasons that I like doing stuff like this, because we get to pay those teams homage, the teams that didn't quite get over the hump because of a great one. You talk about, we even mentioned like the 85-86 Houston Rockets on this podcast, where a lot of people forget about them because it was so Celtic and Laker centric in the 80s. You forget about that team. You forget about the 82-83 76ers that Jason picked. So I love doing stuff like this just to pay homage to those teams that kind of get forgotten in history. And a lot of teams get forgotten because of Michael Jordan. So you're definitely right about that for sure. So now it's time for my last pick. I mentioned that I had some players that I feel like I just need to get in my league. Got to get Larry Bird. So I'm going to go with the 83-84 Boston Celtics.
Wow, that's a pretty good get all this late in the draft.
Yeah, for sure. Championship team right there. They went 62-20 that year. They were 6th in offensive rating, 3rd in defensive rating that season. When you look at that team, man, you got a young Larry Bird, who's only his 4th year. You got a young Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish still in his prime. You had Cedric Maxwell in that squad, Danny Ainge, Gerald Henderson, the senior one. You have a loaded squad there, man, and just absolutely dominant team. 83-84 Boston Celtics. And that team was battle tested, man. It took them a few years to get over the hump and win a championship during that time, but they were able to do it that season. So 83-84 Boston Celtics. So for my 12 teams, I have the 2011-12 Miami Heat, the 2021 Bucks, 91-92 Bulls, the LA Lakers of 72, the 2002 Sacramento Kings, 2012 OKC Thunder, the 99-2000 Toronto Raptors, 94-95 Orlando Magic, 79-80 Lakers, 14-15 Golden State Warriors, 09, 2010 Lakers, and the 83-84 Boston Celtics. So Chris, it is up to you for your last pick.
Yeah, so the team I'm picking here is a championship team. They probably have one of the most controversial championships in NBA history. Two of their players benefited the most after having 4 months off and halfway through the season. I'm going the 1920 LA Lakers. I had to get LeBron James in my league. I don't have him on, any other team in here. But this was the year LeBron, I mean, he's still in his prime. He's 35. He was 35 years old, still in his prime. He led the league in assists, was averaging 25 points per game. Anthony Davis was averaging 26 per game. They were like 49-14 before the bubble. They went 3-5 in the bubble. And I think they only lost 3 games leading up to that NBA finals where they played my Miami Heat. And I think 1-6, I believe. So I'm going with the 1920 LA Lakers.
Okay, definitely. People try to put an asterisk next to that championship. I don't do that because every team was in that bubble. Every team had to deal with the same situation of being in a bubble with no fans and being in one location. And honestly, if you were focused, it should have been a benefit. It should have been a benefit with no travel. Like, it should have been a benefit to every team, but certain teams weren't able to handle it. Famously, the Clippers were not able to handle being in a bubble that year when they should have been one of the favorites and got lost to the Denver Nuggets in the bubble there. So I give that team a lot of credit. Now, Anthony Davis, for some reason, did play a lot better in that bubble than he has any other time with the Lakers. I don't know. Maybe that's his jam is to be in that type of environment. We'll see.
Maybe we have to condense the season for him to get a whole season in.
For sure.
The same thing about Tyler Hero, man. So
you got to put a 4-month break in there for Anthony Davis to really come through, give time for all his injuries to heal. And next thing you know, you get the best version of Anthony Davis in the playoffs. But I do like that pick right there a lot. So for your 12 teams, we have the 17-18 Warriors, 95-96 Sonics, 90-91 Trailblazers, 02-03 Spurs, 01-02 Lakers, 02-03 Nets, 66-67 76ers, the 03-04 Pacers, 08-09 Orlando Magic, 2021-22 Miami Heat, 14-15 Atlanta Hawks, and in 2019-20 Los Angeles Lakers. So Jason, the last pick of the draft.
Yeah, I guess it's time to put it to bed, right? So give me the dream. All right. In that other year, then when they didn't beat the Knicks and they beat the Magic instead, 1995, that season.
Okay. Let me see here, 94-95 Houston Rockets. All right, and we got that here. All right, so for your teams, we have the 16-17 Golden State Warriors, 86-87 Lakers, 85-86 Boston, 88-89 Detroit Pistons, 90-91 Chicago Bulls, 82-83 Philadelphia 76ers, 06-07 Spurs, 07-08 Boston Celtics, 10-11 Miami Heat, 97-98 Utah Jazz, 08-09 Lakers, and 94-95 Houston Rockets. All right, Jay, so I'll start with you. What is it about that your league? You give us your new name. What is it about your league that you like so much and think that your league is better than other leagues?
Me? All right. Look, all right. First of all, got to change the league name. So we're going with the league name is going to be Show Boat. Boat being best of all time, forget greatest of all time. So that's my new league name. And it is that because I have all the greatest players that ever lived. Every single one of them are on my team, from whether it's KD and Stephen, Magic and Kareem, Bird and McHale, or Jordan and Pippen, Isaiah and Rodman, Dr. J and Moses Malone, Parker, Ginobili, Duncan, Garnett, Pierce, Allen, LeBron, Wade, Bosh, Stockton, Malone, Kobe, Gasol, and then ending it with Hakeem, the Dream, putting you all to bed. That's basically what I did. I put this thing to bed. Y'all gonna have nightmares tonight, but I'm gonna be dreaming. I'm gonna kick all their asses because I really do believe that I did absolutely draft every one of them except for I think 2 did not win a championship. But for real, again, these are some of the greatest teams that have ever been concocted with the greatest players, and I have not missed one except one guy that I did not have on my list, which is going to bother me because I'm a big fan, but I got everybody else, but I don't have Shaq. I got no Shaq, but I got everybody else. So I am very happy with the teams I selected.
Okay. Now, I definitely like your league. What are your thoughts on Jason's league, Mike?
Well, I would say his league is pretty tough, but I honestly think my league is better. But hey, that's just me. But I will say this though, he definitely does have a Champions League though, for sure. He
Yeah,
definitely
no,
does.
definitely a lot of champions picked there. What are your thoughts on
Okay.
his league, Big C?
Oh man, wonderful names, wonderful teams. Tough, tough, tough. I think all you guys did a great job. Again, Jason's team, it's definitely got some great names on there. Position wise, it's strong. I mean, there's depth. Strong team, strong team. He might need a little bit of youthful exuberance on that team a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Some new young legs on that squad a little bit. But besides that, I see no issues with it.
Yeah, no, I see that. What do you think about Jason's league, Chris?
No, I think Jason's league is good. I agree pretty much with Mike and everybody else is in, Big C, everybody else has said. He got some dominant players, but that you're gonna need some youth on that squad, man. Or in that league. You gotta either draft somebody or something.
They're all old now. They got the AARP cards and shit. They all have, but they were young at one point.
Hey, that league might be sponsored by Geritol, man.
It's you definitely made some great picks. You made some great points about having so many great players in your league and different styles of play as well in your league. I like that. The only thing I would nitpick is that I don't know if anybody's going to really compete with the 16-17 Warriors. The rest of the teams.
Yeah, it might be tough. Be tough. I mean, I still got Jordan who's there, and you still got Magic and Kareem that are paired up. You still got some great teams, but you're right. But I'll tell you what, everybody's good. They're going to be the villain of my league, and everybody's going to be buying tickets to come see which one of these teams is going to be able to beat that number one team. Who's going to beat the villain? Ticket sales high, bro. High. They're high. Lots of money to get into my league. Lots of money if you want to buy a ticket.
I love that argument right there. The villain, that definitely adds to it when you have that villain that everybody wants to see get taken down. So I like that right there. All right, Chris, what about your league makes it better than the rest of the leagues?
So, I mean, with my league, I have probably maybe three of the most, actually, probably about four of the most dominant scorers. When you look at Kobe, you look at Steph, you look at KD, you look at Wilt, like these are dominant players. I mean, then you got Shaq, you got Tim Duncan, and all of these dudes dominated in their era or dominated during their time. And I mean, I have a guy Wilt Chamberlain, the dude ain't even like basketball like that, but still was out there giving you buckets to grab at boards. All of my teams, they play pretty good defense. They're probably top 10 defensive rating in defense at that time. I got 5 championship teams, 8 conference winners. So yeah, I think my teams were very dominant. Not everybody won a championship, but they dominated in that time. They either had the best record and never won, or they made it and they won it all.
Okay, nah, definitely. And I see a theme like Big C. You see 90s. With you see a lot of 2000s. You could tell like where we came adults. Like you could see that in our leagues for sure. And I like your picks. I like the picks where it was teams that you wouldn't think of. Like 03-04 Pacers is a really nice pick right there as far as a team that you wouldn't think of. But that was a very, very good team. And they probably would have won a championship either that next year or 05-06. They would have stayed together. But of course, the Malice in the Palace happens and everything gets broken up because of that. But I like that pick. And it definitely has some very interesting matchups there for sure. And I like it. I think a team that would struggle may be the 21-22 Miami Heat against the rest of those squads. But
that was definitely a homer pick. That's what that was for sure. I couldn't pick any of the championship teams because y'all had them all. So, it was definitely a homer pick right there.
For sure. But I like your league. What are your thoughts on Chris's league, Chris? Or Carlton?
I think it's a very, very strong league. I think, definitely has definitely some ballers in there. I'm still sick, man. I keep looking at my number 8 team, this 1996 Seattle Supersonic team. I didn't think too many folks were too keen on those guys, man. Mm-hmm. I definitely wanted the high-flying combination of Sean Kemp and Gary Payton, man. So I'm sick with that. And then he grabbed the Lakers, you know what I'm saying, probably a couple rounds before me. So I'm kind of sick with it, man. We were kind of on the same page. you know, it's a decent squad. Very, 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 very good squad.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. What are your thoughts on Chris's
I should
league, Jay?
say.
He's got a scrappy league, man. He does. He's got he's got a few teams in there that are just like, they're going to bite you in the middle of the game and shit like that. Like, they're going to do whatever. He went after some mad men over there, so he did a good job at that.
Okay. What are your thoughts on Chris's league, Mike?
Well, definitely like his league. I mean, of course, you got my favorite player in the NBA, Jimmy Butler, in this league. So, hey, I gotta like that league.
Yeah.
But you got a prime Jimmy Butler, not just Jimmy Butler. So, I definitely like his league. I definitely like the redemption factor going on with some of the teams as well. So, I definitely like the intrigue of who's going to figure it out first in terms of his league.
Okay. No, I definitely like that. So I was the third pick. So let me go ahead and break down my league. I like my league because of the combination of youth. You have champions and you also have experienced teams, along with exciting teams that have the chance to develop into champions. So you look at the 2011-12 Miami Heat, you got prime LeBron, Dwayne Wade, who was still very good, Chris Bosh in his prime. Along with that team, you also have a prime Giannis Antetokounmpo, who can develop into something very, very special. The best player in the league right now. You have a prime Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen with the 91-92 Bulls, to go along with my veteran team, the 71-72 Lakers, with just a very, very heady team. When you think about Jerry West, Will Chamberlain, Gail Goodrich, 01-02 Sacramento adds to that excitement factor. You want to come see them play because they move the ball so well. They do things. And imagine them playing today with how open the league is with three-point shots. Like, they were limited, as exciting as they were back then, they were limited by just the thought process back then of you don't shoot that many threes, you play more ISO ball. If they were playing today, oh man, that team would be so exciting with today's just thought process of offenses and stuff like that. The 11-12 OKC Thunder, young KD, young Russ, James Harden before his beard got crazy. Like, you have these teams where it's just like this. The youth in this league that can grow together is so good. 99-2000 Raptors was definitely a homer pick. I wanted to be Vince Carter growing up. I literally would go out in my backyard, put a chair down, jump off the chair and try to do dunks he did in a dunk contest. But you imagine him, Tracy McGrady, staying together along with the veterans on that team, and maybe that develops into a very, very good team. Imagine them being together and becoming the Jordan Pippen of that time or of this league. You have the 94-95 Orlando Magic, another team, super young. They stay together. No telling what happens there. 79-80 Lakers, rookie Magic. Kareem still in his prime. You have the 14-15 Golden State Warriors, Steph, Clay, Draymond, Andre Iguodala, Sean Livingston, that team. 2010, Los Angeles Lakers, and then 83-84 Boston Celtics. So you have the Magic Bird rivalry in my league. They are still young, can develop together. You have Giannis, LeBron. You have Jordan there. Jordan going against maybe Vince Carter and Kobe. Like, there's so many different rivalries that can happen. So I really like my league. What are your thoughts on my league, Jay?
You got an exciting league, man. I'm going to say that. Like, maybe not the greatest teams in the history of the NBA. When Sacramento, they were awesome. They did go head to head with the Lakers, for a couple of years in a row there, which was really nice. So I would say you got an exciting type of league where, like you mentioned, you got a nice rivalry with Magic and Larry, but you got Giannis, who's like, the freak of nature, of course, and Jordan. I love the 72 Laker team. That's like your shiny little trophy right there. Like, that's like the nice one. Like, this is what started everything. And here's where I'm going to end it off with some of them later teams that you got. So I would say very exciting. You have a lot of players that, you want to go watch play.
Sure. You are welcome to come to the HOA, the Hoopers Only Association, and watch us play. What are your thoughts on my league, Mike?
Well, I definitely like the mixture of, you got the champs, you got the teams that could have been, should have been, that might be right there, and then you got the people that are there. So, I like the mixture of that. You got the young superstars as well. So I definitely like that kind of mixture as well that's going on with your league, man.
Appreciate it. What are your thoughts on my league, Carlton?
Oh man, strong league. You got a little bit of the old school with the new school. I think that's very, very appealing to fans, prospective fans. Great players, great scores. Just a very complete league.
All right, cool. And Chris, what are your thoughts on my league?
Yeah, I agree with Carlton. You got you got some all-time greats. You got Larry, you got Magic, amongst other players and everything. So I like your league. I like what you did there. Like I believe Jay said that you started the Lakers dynasty and then you showed where it ended or whatever. So now I think you have a pretty good league.
Appreciate that. Now we're on the mic. What is it about your league that you like so much?
Great. Well, it's my league. Location. You got Chicago, you got LA, you got New York, you got Boston. You got Houston. You got, what do they have in common? They're all bigger cities in the United States, which means a lot of people, a lot of media markets there. So I was thinking in terms of the marketing aspect of it. Also, you have different forms of or different variations of play. You have the pace and space with the Golden State Warriors. You have the slow down ball with the Bulls, the 2010-2011 Bulls, I would say. And you have that with the Pistons as well. Yeah. And of course, the Knicks. And then you have different variations of different eras as well with, of course, the 69-70 Knicks. You've got the 63-64 Celtics. I've got, the 90s team as well. And then, of course, you do have the greats of all time, Michael Jordan. You have Kobe Bryant. You have LeBron James in this league as well. I mean, what all do you need? Do you need storylines too? Storylines? Okay, cool. You got the Pacers. You got the Jazz and the Trailblazers. They're all going against Michael Jordan and getting their second shot at Michael Jordan. You got the Pistons showing that, hey, we don't need great players to win this league. You got the Rockets and the Kings showing that, hey, I can do this as a one-man show, being the greatest player in the post. You got, Shaq, a little later on, hey, coming back at Hakeem Olajuwon and say, hey, I learned a few things over my maturity in the league. So there's a lot of different storylines, locations, and great players in this league. A lot of excitement. And most of all, we're in the best media markets in America.
Okay. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, man. You should be a lawyer. That was a great argument for your league right there. You definitely came through with that. And I can't lie, man. You definitely have some great teams. Like to start off, to get the 95-96 Bulls, 2000-2001 Lakers, and then the 2012-2013 Miami Heat for your first three teams really set the tone for what type of league you're going to have. So I definitely can't argue with you. Great argument there for your league. What are your thoughts on his league, Chris?
Yeah, you definitely stole a couple teams I wanted, like the 2000-2001 Lakers. I was definitely getting them. That's why I had to go with the 01-02 Lakers. But Mike definitely hit on the media markets. Like you can tell he's a media member. He definitely hit on the media markets. But he got the storylines, like you said, as well. Teams getting their redemption against Michael Jordan, the 95-96 Bulls and everything. So they're getting their redemption there. So good league, man.
Yeah, it's definitely a good league. What are your thoughts on his league, Jay?
Yeah, I know. I definitely like it, and I'm not just saying it. I think his league, when you go to watch games with his teams, you're going to learn how to play basketball. He's got a lot of teams in there that are good team basketball, like a lot of passing. Let's get the ball close to underneath the hoop. We don't got to shoot it from 35 feet out every single time. I like that. So he's got good team chemistry, team basketball. That's the way to learn. You want to go watch basketball the way it's played the right way, go to Mike's house.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I like it. And Big C, what are your thoughts on Mike's league?
Mike has an excellent league. I think a great selling point, I didn't even think about this, was the continued storylines. I think a number of these teams who came up short, who ran into the buzzsaw that was the Lakers, that was the Bulls. My Pistons won too, so we don't, they were a buzzsaw too. So, a lot of these teams that ran into those guys during those eras would love to, get a second shot at them. Especially definitely Shaq, trying to get some get back for Olajuwon, because he definitely put it on him and showed him what, real basketball was about. So that was very, very interesting, man. Very impressed with Mike's league. For
sure. So now it's on you, Big C. What is it about your league that you like so much?
Okay. We're gonna stop. We're gonna call it the grime and shine. It's kind of grimy. We got some guys, who like to mix it up and tussle a little bit. We got some throwbacks. We got, guys like Jordan. We got, LeBron. We've got Shaq. We've got big guys. We got guys who can feel who can feel the bucket. We've got guys who appeal to, some of the new school fans and guys like Steph. We've got guys with swag. I keep talking about C-Webb and his contribution, not only to, his teams, but just to the game of basketball itself. When you look at the Fab Five and just what they meant to pop culture. You know what I'm saying? The long baggy shorts, the black shoes, the black socks, all those things that kind of, you know, took what we were doing outside on the playground and brought it, you know what I'm saying, to the mainstream. So I give, you know what I'm saying, C Webb a lot of credit for that, along with his great athletic ability. So I think we bring that to the table. So if you're a fan of basketball from back in the day, you know, you're gonna love to see Bill Russell. You're gonna love to see Bird. You know what I'm saying? If you're a fan of, you know what I'm saying, the 90s like me, you're gonna love to see some of those teams who didn't quite make it, like, you know, C Webb and Latrell and the Phoenix Suns. If you're a fan of, you know what I'm saying, kind of new school basketball, you're gonna enjoy seeing what Steph has brought to the table and see this dynasty in Golden State. So I think when we bring our league, you know, we got a little bit of the grime and we got a little bit of the shine. You know what I mean? We got guys who won slam dunk contests, guys who've been MVPs, and we got guys who are on their way out of the league. So we bring a little bit of everything to the table for all basketball fans. So definitely sign up for the for the Grime and Shine League.
Okay. Definitely like that argument right there, Big C. And you do have a great mixture of different types of teams. And I think that's one thing everybody did a good job of, is getting different types of squads, where like with Mike, you get the 03-04 Pistons going against these, you know, the 2013 Miami Heat, where they're driving, they're going just a quick pace, and then 03-04 Pistons, they slowing it down, playing defense. Who's going to win? Who's going to win a tempo game of that one, right? Big C did a great job with that as well. Like your league a lot. I love the pick of the Phoenix Suns. I like having a character like Charles Barkley in your league. Like, I think just having a personality like that definitely helps your league grow. So I love that pick. So I like your league a lot, man. I love it. And you took some chances, man. 93-94 Golden State Warriors. A lot of teams don't remember that team, but you got a young Chris Webber, Sprewell. When people talk about Sprewell at that age, man, he just was so fast. They knew he was going right, but they couldn't stop him. They was like, he's not going left, but he's going to blow past you going to the right anyway. you couldn't stop him going right. So I definitely love the mixture here. And of course, Dominique Wilkins. Go ahead.
I will say I'm a little upset. I didn't get any Hakeem shares. That kind of bothered me. You guys kind of swept up the Rocket teams. And I don't have any KD shares. So I don't have one of the most dominant scorers of the new era on my team, but I'm okay with that because I do have Kyrie. And then in the Grime and Shine League, we do have a limit on flaky characters. So, be admitted to the league right now. We already got Kyrie.
That is hilarious, and that's a good thing. You know, so you don't have too many people in your league who's not going to show up. You know, you want to make sure that everybody.
I chose the wrong guy. Chose the wrong.
Oh my goodness,
that's hilarious. But yeah, that was one thing that I was mad about. I didn't get Hakeem, and I was like, I should have went for Hakeem earlier. When Mike picked 93-94, I was like, damn, because it was coming right back to me too, and that's why I had to pivot and pick the Raptors. So I was going to get the Rockets right there. But man, this was great, man. This was really, really fun. I love doing this with you guys. So much knowledge just passed down in this podcast. So please let the people know where they can find you on social media and where they can subscribe to your particular show. Let's start with Chris.
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter. That's where I'm at most of the time. At Dropballs Pod. You can also follow my burner. I believe is at CLou904 or something like that. But yeah, so if you want the sports content, you go to at Dropballs Pod. If you just want everything else, you go to my burner account. Dropballs Podcast. It's available on every major podcast platform. I got to get more consistent with it. I was consistent start, for the past 2 years, but then kind of fell off a little bit. I drop an episode every other week, but we definitely going to pick up more on that, especially as football season starts getting ramped up. But yeah, that's where you can find me at.
Okay, for sure, man. Definitely Dropballs Podcast. Like I said earlier, he's your favorite podcaster's favorite sports podcaster. So go ahead and check him out at Dropballs Podcast. Always dropping good content there. And like you said, Dropballs Pod, you definitely get a lot of good content on the Twitter and the Twitter Spaces. It gets wild in there. Shout out to you, Ashley Baker. Joy gets really wild in those spaces. Sometimes I gotta bow. Sometimes I just gotta get out of there and keep it moving. But it's definitely very, very entertaining when C. Lou is in there with the rest of the crew. All right, Big C, man. Thank you for coming on. Where can people find you on social media, and where can they find your podcast?
Yes, man. Thank you for having me, man. You can definitely follow me on Twitter at Cheen313. That's CHEN313. And you can catch up on my podcast. It's called The Fellas Present. I'm sorry, "the" is spelled ebonically, DAFELLAS, presents sports rap. That's on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Definitely check me out. Like see, I'm a little bit inconsistent, but we're going to get it back going. And I would like to invite you guys, man, at any time, man, to definitely come and join me on the pod, man. Open invitation to everybody.
Oh, for sure, man. Like, just let me know when. I'm there. Like I said, I'm always ready to be a guest on one of these great podcasts. So definitely have me whenever, bro. So now let's get to my main man, Jay, the quarterback of the 3rd and 3 podcast. Let the people know where they can find you and find our podcast.
Thank you. My head coach over here, couldn't do it without you. And yeah, this is great honor to be among, you guys are friends. I mean, I met you through this Twitter universe, but it don't freaking matter. We're boys and I love it and love doing this sort of stuff with you. So definitely a lot of fun. You guys all do a great job with your each individual shows, including you got your own going on, man, which is great. But yeah, you can find me and this ugly dude over here on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock time. All right. Talking mostly NFL football, but, we talk other stuff in there. And of course, now Nikki is tricky and crazy, but we have a really good time for about 2 hours every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. Yep. Go to Facebook, follow 3rd and 3 podcasts. It's with the numbers, 3rd and 3 podcasts. You follow me, Damian, and Nikki, and, we'll holler back at you. And now Lamont Brown is going to be hollering back at you too. We'll tell you about that another time. But next show coming up on Wednesday, D. We got a lot of work to do. We're going to have a lot of fun. And we get crazy on the show, but we keep it cool at the same time. So a lot of fun. I'm at Sports Prophet 1. That's the number 1 on Twitter. You want a communicado? That's where you got to go.
For sure, man. Great follow, great host of our podcast. Definitely doing his thing. Jason right there. And last but definitely not least, my man Mike Patton. Please let them know where they can find you. And he does so much stuff. So be ready to write it down. Be ready to write down the list that Mike's about to give you right now.
Oh my goodness. Oh man. Yeah, well, you can find me on Twitter at Mike Patton 82. That's MikePatton 82. Of course, you can find me, doing freelance journalism at the Nashville Voice and at the Tennessee Tribune. Talking a little bit of course, Titans. You can find me also at touring the AFC South, which is my podcast that I host and produce. You never know who will pop up on there, and I will tell you on next week, you'll definitely have a guest that everyone knows. Just going to leave it at that. Some of y'all may know, but hey, have a guest that everyone knows, basically. But also you can find me guest appearing on a few other different podcasts, and also you can catch me doing my creative writing at my other Twitter account, which I've got now back access to. Thank you, Twitter. At J Michael. So that'll be where that's like my creative writing alter ego. So yeah.
Man, Mike Patton, very talented dude, man. Not only when it comes to sports, but also his creative stories. I love when I look on Facebook and I get tagged and he has a picture attached to a story. I know I'm about to read something real good when he does that. So I'm definitely looking forward to both the writing you do in sports and your creative writing, along with touring the AFC South as well.
I was going to tell you, I got part 2 coming tomorrow of the story I'm working on now, which is called, ironically, after a song, it's called Computer Love.
Okay.
Yeah. So that one actually, part 2 of that comes tomorrow, which, I'm going to get C-Hand to join Facebook so he can see it like straight when it comes out. So.
I'm trying to stay away from the book, man, but you guys, man, I'm going to check you guys out, man.
Yeah, you definitely got to join the Facebook, man, so you can catch, let's say, Michael's stories, catch the 3rd and 3 podcast live on there as well. I understand Twitter is much faster than Facebook. I know Facebook, you'll put a status and people won't see it for 3 days, but it's good for, it's stuff that you can get tagged in, also having the live shows for sure. Thank you guys again for coming on. If you are listening, you know where to find me at The Real Deal WDA. I am 1/3 of the 3rd and 3 podcast. So you heard Jay earlier mention where you can find us every Wednesday night on Facebook, or if you miss it live, just catch us later on every podcast platform. My podcast, The Real Deal with Damian Adams. This means you're already listening to me, but please share it with your friends. It's on all podcast platforms, so it doesn't matter if they have an Android or iPhone. If they got a Google phone, they trying to be different, doesn't matter. They can find it on any podcast platform that they enjoy. And me on Twitter is at The Real Deal WDA. That's on all social media platforms. The Real Deal, W as in whiskey, D as in Delta, A as in alpha. You'll catch my random thoughts. You'll catch me doing videos where my head will just poke in and I'm giving my thoughts and reactions to different things. There'll be boxing matches. There'll be basketball rumors, football games. People get a good kick out of my Saints videos, which will be coming soon as football season is approaching. So people get a good kick out of that for sure. So go ahead and follow me now so you can see those, all right? Thank you again to you guys for joining me on this episode. If you listen, please vote on which league you like the best. It could be the Hoopers Only Association. It could be Grime and Rise. Or Grime and Shine, excuse me. It could be my man Jason's league as well. Showboat for best of all time. Very creative right there. Mike, what's the name of your league one more time?
That'd be the General's Army, even though, of course, it kind of rings as one team. But hey, the Army can be different branches too.
The Army is every military association is made of several different commands. Right. So the Army has made all those 12 different commands a part of the Army. So I definitely like that name right there. And Chris, what's the name of your league one more time?
The DBBA, Drop Balls Basketball Association.
Love that right there. Sounds real professional. Got the initials. The DBBA. Love that right there. So thank you guys again for staying with us and listening to this whole episode. Until next time, go real or go home.